Hi, I'm Cliff, and this is my garage. And today, we're going to take a look at the effect that tinting your headlights has on the amount of light that your headlights put out. Hey, welcome back to the garage. And if this is your first time joining me, thanks for dropping by. So, I'm making this video not as a rebuttal, but maybe as a counterpoint to the video that was put out by another YouTuber. And I'm not trying to put them down, call them stupid, or make them look bad. I just feel like they've reached an erroneous conclusion. And I'm not going to call him out by name or anything, but it is a fellow YouTuber that I follow a lot, and I think he's really terrific at what he does, which is doing vinyl wraps on cars. I mean, I've learned so much from him that I think I'm almost to the point where I'm brave enough to try wrapping my own car, my 2006 Cayman S. But he put out a video the other day, and he does, like I said, vinyl wrapping, and what he was doing was he was looking or showing how to wrap headlights and taillights with tint film. His conclusion was that the tint on the headlights was not affecting the output of the amount of light that was coming out of the headlights. Or if it was affecting it, it was a very, very minor amount. And I think that he, I disagree. Now, like I said, I think Christian is a great guy. I think he produces wonderful content. I've learned so much, and so I'm not trying to put him down. Now, I did put a comment on his video explaining why I thought it wasn't correct, and a link to a video that I had done which was showing the amount of light that the film was blocking. And in fact, it would happen to be the exact same film that he was using. Now, that comment is now gone from the page that his video is on. Now, I'm not saying he deleted it. I think maybe because I included the link that YouTube automatically blocks it. I'm not sure about that, and I'm certainly willing to give him the benefit of the doubt because I've seen him say things like, hey, I was wrong. So I'm not saying he's going to see this and agree with me, but let's just go over my own thought process. Now, I do have a bit of an advantage, perhaps, over Christian in that among my various university degrees, I have a master's degree in computer science. And my master's thesis research was in the area of 3D image synthesis, basically using the computer to create photorealistic 3D images. And as part of that process, I had to do a lot of research on the behavior of light, especially when it comes to the way that a camera interacts with that light. I also spent a number of years as a professional photographer, so again, there was a lot of experience there in dealing with cameras and how they work with light. In a camera, you have some sort of a light sensing medium, either film or a digital sensor. And the idea, in order to get a correct photo or image, you need to get the right amount of light onto that photosensitive medium. We're just going to call it the sensor from now on. So the whole thing is you adjust your camera so that you're getting the right amount of light onto the medium or onto the sensor, and then that looks like a proper image. Now there's three factors that go into getting the correct amount of light on there. One is the lens, or how big the opening is. So of course the bigger the opening, the quicker the light comes in. The other one is the amount of time that you let the light hit the sensor. So if it's a short time, not much light hits it. If you open it a long time, a lot more light hits it. And the other thing is the sensitivity of the medium or the sensor. In this case, with film, you would choose what was called an ISO level. the higher the ISO number, the more sensitive the film was, and the less light it needed to create a proper image. With a digital sensor, we can adjust that ISO electronically. You don't really make the sensor more and less sensitive. You just choose whether to amplify the signal more or less. What I think is going wrong with Christian's demo is that you have two ways you can operate a camera. One is manual mode, where you set the size of the opening, which is called the f-stop or the aperture. You set the amount of time that you let the light hit the sensor, which is the exposure time or the shutter speed, and you adjust the sensitivity either by changing film or changing the amplification on the sensor. You can do this in manual mode, or you can put the camera into a variety of automatic modes, one of which is full auto. You let the camera analyze the scene that it sees through the lens, and it adjusts all those factors to make the image look correct. But it does that by looking at the amount of light coming in. Now, I think where Christian went wrong with his demo is he has his camera in full auto mode, so that when you take the video of the lights in operation, the camera adjusts it to what it thinks is the correct amount of light. He then put the film on the headlights and reshot the scene, and the camera adjusted. It said, okay, there's a whole lot less light now. I'm going to open up the aperture. I'm going to increase the amount of time that I let the light hit the sensor, and I'm going to increase the sensitivity or the amplification on the sensor. One or two or all three of those things is what the camera decided to do. So it did its job, which is to make the second scene look the same as the first scene. It looks for a specific amount of light. And so that is where I think Christian went wrong in his demo and reached an incorrect conclusion. So we're going to test that today by locking the camera into manual mode so that it can't make any adjustments. Plus, we're going to actually measure the light. Instead of just looking at a video or photo of the light and say, oh, what does it look brighter or darker? We're going to use an actual piece of equipment called a lux meter to measure the light. I don't have a real expensive lux meter, but in this case, we don't need one because we're not looking for a 2 or 3% difference. I believe, and I'm going to be using the exact same film that Christian was using in part of his demo, I believe we're not going to see a 2 or 3% drop. We should be seeing a 40% drop in the amount of light. But let's set it up, do our testing, and let's see where the data leads us. In order to simplify this, we're just going to test by changing a single headlight. We're going to get perfectly valid results in terms of the percentage of light loss, but it means we don't have to take and put film on 2 headlights. We'll just test one, and there are several microfiber towels there. They're going to completely block any relevant light. I also used painter's tape to mask off the LED strip lights and keep them from contributing any light, as well as using another microfiber towel stuffed into the fog lamp and then held in place with some tape. It's ugly, but it works. Here we are with our one single headlight shining onto a piece of rigid foam insulation. I've marked 3 spots with painter's tape to take our measurements so that we can get specific numbers in addition to just our subjective opinion of how bright the light looks. I've put the marks into what I think is just about the brightest spot, and then in the beam pattern a little ways to the left and right. Again, getting the point of absolute maximum illumination is not necessary. What we're measuring is the amount of light loss, if any, that's being caused by the film. So just for reference, our shutter speed is 1/100th of a second, our aperture is f8, and our ISO is set to ISO 1000. Now that we see what it looks like subjectively, let's get actual measurements. So here on this point, we've got right at 200 lumens. Here, 900, and at this point, 260 lumens. Now we put the tint film on. I'm not going to try and do some kind of super nice job here. We're just going to do it well enough. Make sure it's bonded down so we get proper measurement of the amount of light transmitted. Whew, there's a lot of static on this thing. I'm going to eventually get around to doing this on my lights for real. The business has been so crazy good lately that I have had so little time. All right, there we go. Now it just happened that Christian and I used the exact same film for part of our testing and when I did my tail light wrapping video. And in that video, I used a lux meter and I checked this film and measured it at 40% light loss. So that's what we're expecting, or at least that's what I'm expecting. Everything is still in the exact same position. I haven't moved the car, I haven't moved the piece of insulation, and I think I've got the camera pretty much back exactly where it was. So, I mean, I'm within a few inches of its original position, if not even closer. So just subjectively looking at it, I think the light is considerably lower, although it's not as much darker as I thought. But that just could be, again, my own eyes adjusting. Our own eyes do the same sort of thing in terms of the way our pupils open. So that could just be my own eyes fooling myself. Let's put a lux meter on it and let's see what happens. All right, exact same lux meter settings. I believe on this side we were at around, well, I just don't remember. Let's see what we get though. I'm seeing around 60 lux. In the middle here, about 320. Now, if I recall correctly, this was around 900. So that's like a 67% light loss. And here I'm seeing right at 100. Again, I don't recall what this one was. I think it was around 250. This one's around 900. This one, 60. I simply don't remember, but I'll throw the actual numbers up on the screen here at this point. So, I think that was a pretty interesting experiment. We saw that even though the camera could be fooled, and I didn't even think about it, our eyes could actually be fooled too, to where it didn't look like we were losing that much light at all. In reality, when we measured it, we were losing a tremendous amount of light. You need to be careful when you're tinting the headlights on your car. You're going to experience dramatic light loss, which if you're only ever driving in city environments and it's always well lit, well, then that may not really be an issue for you. For most people who tend to at least occasionally drive on dark roads and nothing else, interstates, or people like me who live out in the country, we need to get a proper amount of light onto the road to be safe, in spite of the looks, which people may or may not like. Now, myself, I really thought I would like these headlights tinted. Now that I've gone, I went ahead and trimmed it up to see what it would look like, and I gotta say, I'm kind of iffy on the whole thing. Kind of like the taillights, it just doesn't look quite like I thought it would look like. Now, I had thought about tinting it, I expected it to lose light, and so I had purchased a set of LED bulbs to go in here, which put out about triple the amount of light that these halogens do. So they would, in theory, counteract the light loss I experience from the film itself. But looking at it aesthetically, it doesn't look as good as I thought it would. I'm going to wait till tomorrow. I'll probably throw a comment down below the video to let you know what I end up doing. But at this point, I'm probably not going to keep it. Well, I'm definitely not going to keep it because I've done a kind of crappy job just sticking it on here in order to be quick for this video. But I probably am going to just end up not tinting them at all. Again, I want to say I'm not trying to put Christian down. I think he's a great YouTube content creator. I love his work in wrapping cars. I just think that his lack of knowledge and experience led him to set up an experiment that wasn't quite configured correctly and led him to some incorrect conclusions. But hey, maybe you think I've done this incorrectly and that I've reached incorrect conclusions. If so, put a comment down below. Let me know what you think, what I may have done wrong. I'm willing to listen. As always, thanks for dropping by. Please go down there, find that thumbs up button, give us a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and if you do, make sure you click on that bell icon. That way, the YouTube will let you know whenever I post new content from here in Cliff's Garage. I'll see you next time.